Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Vision Friday. I'm excited to be here on this lovely Friday morning. I have been excited about Vision Friday all week long because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is vulnerability. And I'll get deeper into later on kind of, and I think I told you all before, but I'll get into deeper understanding of why this is my favorite subject and why it has been such a hero in my life. That's the word I want to use for it. But anyway, for those that don't hold on, because this morning my voice is I'm a little tired. I am tired. I went to the ballet last night. I enjoyed it, but I'm a little sleepy. But hold on. So, welcome to Vision Friday. My name is Ty Young. I am the owner of 624 Visionaries. I am a creative business coach and consultant. And I basically, you come to me for creative solutions when it comes to your business, but I also help inspire your $1 million ideas. And I have been doing Vision Friday for a few Fridays now. I don't know exactly um, how many Fridays it has been, but I believe I'm on my 8th Friday, I think. I don't know. So I have to look that up and see what Friday, how many times this is. But I'm celebrating being consistent in my business and showing up regularly. So first challenge that I challenge myself to be consistent with is with my coming up, showing up every week and showing up weekly. And I have been faithful to showing up every week. And I'm just excited and I'm celebrating that. So, and as Vision Friday is evolving, um, because when I first started it, I just ran with a vision that God gave me. I just ran with a concept that God gave me. And I wasn't sure what direction it really was going in and all of those good things. But now that I have begun to get in the flow and I've been redefining a lot of different things for my business, now I'm beginning to have an understanding of really how to move forward with Vision Friday, how to give a little bit more depth to Vision Friday, and how to help you to succeed through Vision Friday. So basically, it's just our weekly meeting to prepare us for business, okay, to prepare us for life, to prepare us for life with business, right, to prepare us for our goals and our journeys on this entrepreneur and leadership path, because who I know that I am destined to work with is professional women in leadership, and then female entrepreneurs specifically. So again, if you're catching the replay, please put hashtag replay. If you're watching this later, if you're watching this live with me, please join in with me. Like, talk to me. I need to know that you're here. I need to, like, I don't know you're here if you don't talk to me. So say hi, say good morning, say happy Vision Friday or whatever. Okay. So I'm starting a series this today. It's about strategies for building confidence as a female entrepreneur. So maybe the next 4 or 5 lives on Friday will be centered around building confidence for female entrepreneurs specifically. Okay. So this this first live that's kicking it off is embracing vulnerability as a strength. Okay. And so this is, like I said, this is one of my favorite words. I love vulnerability. I love the topic of vulnerability because that was life changing for me. It was very pivotal for me once I learned to embrace vulnerability, right? And so today I want to truly de weaponize vulnerability, because when we think about vulnerability, We often look at it in the space of, if I'm vulnerable, I open myself up to attacks. I open myself up to being wounded. I open myself up to people not treating me fairly. I open myself up to being walked over. And today I want to dispel that myth. I want to de-weaponize it. I want to show you how to use vulnerability as a strength in your business that will help propel you into success, into being who you need to be in your business, and to help you show up in your business in the way that you're supposed to show up. Okay. So, also, this is what I learned by talking to people, and this is why we have to find ways to just really embrace conversation in our lives and get in spaces where we're conversing with people that challenge us intellectually, right? And not to say everything has to be stuffy, not to say that every conversation with people have to be at an educated level, but nevertheless, if you have nobody in your space around you in your circle that is having conversations with you that challenge your thinking, because if you have your own bias thinking, if you have your only way of thinking that suits you, you can't grow like that. So I was going on to say this, that I was speaking to somebody and we were talking about some different things, and we were talking about different words, or how we identify in things. And then he showed me that in speaking and basically how your relationship with certain words is determined how you view that word, right? So if vulnerability is a scary word to you, if vulnerability is not the word, is a word that you often associate with just bad situations or bad experiences, then yes, you're not going to like the word vulnerability. You're probably going to be like, okay, I don't want to talk about vulnerability or whatever. So yeah, so today we're talking about embracing vulnerability as strength, okay? So the first point that we want to get into is we want to redefine what confidence is. So before we can really even talk about vulnerability, I want to first redefine what confidence is. I want to shift the narrative from what we say confidence is. Confidence is portraying being strong, being unshakable, but we want to take it from all about being strong, all about being unshakable, and we want to recognize it, or we want to divert it to being as vulnerability as a form of strength. Okay. So just kind of stay with me and follow me on this, right? So when when we think about vulnerability, we want to take it as being a catalyst for growth and deeper connection, with our audiences in business, right? So, first and foremost, let me get into these points, right? So, when we look at the word confidence, confidence is a state of feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something, a firm trust, state of feeling certain about the truth about something, right? That's what we know confidence to be. Again, confidence is just showing up and, oh, I can do this and I can do that or whatever. And we'll get into how having certain confidences leads to imposter syndrome, right? Because we have this notion of faking it till we make it. That's part of sometimes how we walk in confidence, faking it till we make it. We don't really believe what we're doing, or we're not really sure about what we're doing, but to show up, because I need to show up in confidence, because if I don't show up in confidence, then people won't believe me. People won't buy what I'm selling. People won't do this. People won't do that. People won't take me seriously as a leader if I'm not showing up in confidence, right? But it's much more, it's much deeper to that, right? So first of all, when we're shifting confidence to vulnerability, you have to ask yourself, do you even trust yourself with being vulnerable? Do you trust yourself with being vulnerable? um because vulnerability should not be used as a gimmick, right? It shouldn't be used as a gimmick. It shouldn't be used as something, because that is a buzzword. Vulnerability is a buzzword. Authenticity is a buzzword. Being yourself is a buzzword. But what does that really mean? Right? What does it really mean? Should it so we get into these spaces and we want to use that, but it's a gimmick, right? Because we don't even trust ourselves with being vulnerable. We don't trust ourselves with being ourselves. We don't trust ourselves with giving what we are supposed to give when it comes to vulnerability. So right now we're just using it as a gimmick, and it's just not authentic, right? Um, when you're vulnerable and when you're putting yourself out there as to be vulnerable, you got to understand, like, you're not going to know what the outcome is going to be with being vulnerable. So vulnerability is not just about being especially in business, it's not about saying, well, I'm going to put myself out here as a way of getting people to see that I'm real, getting people to see that I'm authentic, getting people to relate to me, and then they're gonna buy what I'm selling, because that's not always the truth, right? That's not always gonna happen. You don't know what the outcome is gonna be when you choose to be vulnerable. That's in relationships, that's in business, that's in your career path, that's in probably any situation. Everyone is not gonna always respond to your vulnerability as you always will want them to. It's not going to always happen, right? And it's easy for us to like to say we have confidence, right? But it's not always easy for us to say that we are vulnerable and to show vulnerability. And then with vulnerability, it always leaves room for a deeper connection for those who are in a space and time and to appreciate our vulnerability. So what does that mean, right? When you choose to be vulnerable, when you choose to express yourself in a vulnerable way, there's going to be people who don't accept it and don't perceive it and don't understand it. And then there's going to be people that when you authentically show yourself up in vulnerability in your business, they will they will perceive it, they will take it, they will connect to it, they will understand it, right? So even further redefining confidence as vulnerability, let's understand what vulnerability is. So for me, when we, like I said before, when we hear the word vulnerability, we always associate it with like being hurt or being open, having ourselves open to things, being wounded, putting ourselves in position to be attacked. But I want to really reshift that. And just if y'all follow me on that, I'll get into the reshifting of it, okay, right? So for me, I define vulnerability as sharing parts of myself that I'm insecure about, right? But yet at the same time, I understand that they're beneficial for my journey, right? And so sometimes the reason that I'm insecure about something is because if it's not perceived well, then it leaves me open to rejection. And who likes rejection? Nobody likes rejection. So first and foremost, like I said, vulnerability for me is just revealing parts of myself, revealing things, revealing situations of myself that makes me insecure. And there's a reason why I'm insecure about it, because maybe I'm not too sure, or maybe I don't think it will be perceived well, or maybe I think that people won't understand where I'm coming from. But nevertheless, this is how I feel. This is what it, what it means to me, right? Opening ourselves up to like perceived weaknesses and allowing others to see that we don't have it all together. Because a lot of times when we try to show up in confidence, a reason why that imposter syndrome kicks in, because we know behind the scenes, while I may be showing up in confidence, I don't get it all together. I don't have this together. I don't have that. This is going on. That is going on. But yet I'm showing up in confidence. So then when when somebody is so enamored by you, by what they believe that you can do and by what they believe that who you are, then now your imposter syndrome is kicking in and you're having doubts about yourself because you haven't exposed your vulnerabilities. So in essence, confidence and vulnerability are not interchangeable terms. They should be used as collaborative terms, because if you show up in confidence, you also need to show up in vulnerability at times, right? Which will help. And I'm gonna get to that, right? I'm gonna get to that. So again, when people admire you, it's easy to get into those moments of not wanting to disappoint people, right? So when we talk about having confidence, confidence also comes with because we feel like people are waiting for us, they're looking for us, they need us, right? And then we don't want to disappoint people. And I'll get deeper into imposter syndrome in a few lives going forward, but I want to hit that little moment right there, right? So we don't want to disappoint people. But what I have learned is when I have embraced vulnerability, was after I started getting back into the dating world. So even though I know we're talking about showing up in vulnerability in our business, showing up as embracing vulnerability as a strength in our businesses and in our leadership and in our positions in leadership, I need to let me relate this to you in a form of like from relationships. When I after I got my divorce, I did some healing and I went through some things or whatever, and I started back dating. And one thing that I said that I was going to do was I was going to embrace vulnerability. Reason being, saying that I was going to embrace vulnerability because when I reflected back on my marriage, I had wondered, like, was there like could I have opened up more? Could I have said certain things that I was feeling, but I was afraid to say it because I'm trying to be this person for my husband. I'm trying to be this person that he likes instead of just being myself. Could there have been moments that I could have opened up and could have, because I'm a sensitive person. So because I'm a very sensitive person, I don't like to be hurt. I don't like to good morning, Mary. Good morning. That's my sister, y'all. Good morning. So yeah, I didn't want to open up because I was afraid to be in hurt. So it was like I will give only so much of myself and then that's it. So how can somebody truly love you when they don't know who you are? Right. And that can be the same way that you can look at it with your business. How can your audience really love you if they don't know who you are? Even if you're a faceless business that's just putting a business out there without no face, like because a faceless business would be like a considered a Target or a Walmart or a Macy's or whatever. They really don't have a face, whatever. So even if you structured your business as a faceless business, how could your audience or your tribe or whoever how could they really love you if they don't know who you are? Right? So that's the same way we got to look at with our businesses. And that's the same way vulnerability taught me after my divorce. Like we were in a disconnect because I was not open. I was not myself. I hadn't chose to be vulnerable. I had I had the wrong relationship with the word vulnerability, which means to open yourself to attack, open yourself to being hurt, open yourself to being wounded. That was my relationship with the word vulnerability. So I had to learn to understand that when I opened myself up to vulnerability, I had to recognize the word or give the word a new meaning for myself. So meaning, well, now I'm getting into these relationships, and now that I'm dating people and now that I'm talking to people, now I have to share the things that I am afraid of, or share my feelings, or share what I desire, and share myself. I have to share myself. And in order for this person to get to know me, right? So that was the first time that I began to turn around the meaning of vulnerability for me in my life, right? Okay. So and in that, listen to this now. And in making that connection, right? And in turning around the word of vulnerability, I had to understand truth. I had to learn some truth, and I had to learn to accept truth, right? Because my truth is not always everybody else's truth, but I have to accept truth. And let me tell you what that means, okay? I learned to understand that sometimes some people aren't just for you. That's what I learned in vulnerability. So you can open yourself up and you can choose to be open, but that doesn't always mean the outcome is going to always be in your favor. That means that as you begin to pull yourself out, as you begin to open yourself up, and hopefully that other person opens themselves up, maybe you both determine, yeah, this not gonna be a good fit. Like, you cool, I like you, whatever. This not gonna be a good fit. And that's the same way in our business, like, right? We opening ourselves up, we're expressing ourselves, we're being authentic, we're being who we're supposed to be, we're being vulnerable in our business. And then you're gonna have some people like, yeah, that's just not for me, but she cool. Right. And then they may see somebody else that may be a good fit for you, and they may refer you, right? So understanding that sometimes when we're being vulnerable, we're gonna recognize that some people just aren't for us, and it's the same with our clients. But you have to practice being open. Okay. So when you practice being open, when you do get in situations where, say, a relationship doesn't work, say, a business opportunity doesn't work, say, a career path doesn't work, say, your audience, people who connected with you in the beginning may fall off, at least you know you left nothing on the table. Because we live in a life, we live fully in what ifs, because we're not vulnerable. You can cut out a lot of what ifs in your life if you choose to be vulnerable. Because when you put it all out on the table, when you know you've given your all, when you know you did the best that you can do, you can take them situations and you can walk away with no wounds, right? Because again, we our initial relationship with vulnerability is opening myself up to attacks, open myself up to being hurt, open myself up to being wounded. But when you change it around and use it as a strength, embracing vulnerability as a strength, and you put yourself out there, put everything out there on the table, you can essentially end up walking away with no wounds, even when it don't work out in your favor. Okay? So when I made the choice to be vulnerable, I always prep my heart. So this is what I learned. I learned to prep my heart and my mind for two possible outcomes, right? So the two possible outcomes is either it go in my favor or it don't go in my favor. It works out or it don't work out, right? But nevertheless, I try, right? So then therefore, I'm rarely caught by surprise of the outcome because I've already prepped myself. And that's the same way that we can do this in business. When we sit here and have these self-talks and these talks ourselves, oh, if I do this, if I get on live and whatever, people gonna think I'm stupid. People gonna think I'm crazy. People gonna think this. People gonna think that. You didn't already talk yourself out of doing the thing, but you've got to be vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable. And then if you don't get no viewers, right? Let's just even be simple. Let's do something very simple. Vulnerability, getting on a live stream, right? So in practicing what I said about prepping your heart, prepping your mind for two possible outcomes when you're choosing to be vulnerable, let's just even take a laugh. So you tell yourself, okay, either I'm going to get on this live and it's gonna be nobody on the live, and I'm gonna just be talking to myself. But that's okay. At least I did it. At least I'm making a strive. One day somebody gonna watch you, whatever, blah blah blah. Or I'm gonna get on this live, and it's gonna be one or two or three or maybe even 10 people that get on the live with me and they watch my live, right? So you've already prepped yourself, but at the end of the day, you got to make the decision. I'm getting on this live. I'm getting vulnerable. I'm getting out of my comfort zone. I'm gonna open myself up and I'm gonna get on this live. So guess what? You get rarely surprised by the outcome because you've been already prepped your mind. So if you get on and nobody watching, you prepped your mind for that. If you get on and people watching, you've prepped your mind by that, right? Now, is it disappointing if the outcome is not favorable? Absolutely it is, right? But nevertheless, you made that brave choice to be vulnerable. And then it's like it puts me in a space where I'm glad I'm not worrying about what's gonna happen, right? Because then you got that nagging feeling where if I talk myself out of being vulnerable, then now I'm sitting all day wondering, well, what would have happened if I would have got on that live? What would have happened? I don't like what ifs. I don't like wondering what would have happened. I've trained myself to be vulnerable. I've strengthened myself in vulnerability to say, I'm going to do it. And whatever happens, It's whatever happens. And that's a gift, that's a muscle that you got to build up. It just don't happen over time. And when I say, so I got divorced in 2014. I didn't start dating again until 2017. It's now 2024. So these are all of these years of me consistently building up my vulnerability muscle and using it as a strength for me versus using it as a weakness, having it as a perceived weakness, because vulnerability is not a weakness, it's being brave, especially when it comes to businesses. Okay. So vulnerability is not low self-esteem. It's not a lack of confidence in your abilities. Vulnerability is just reality. Vulnerability is truth and authenticity, right? Vulnerability as a strength is embracing that people are looking for you for the answers. When you know who you are in your business, when you understand who you are in business and you choose to de-weaponize vulnerability and use it as a mighty powerful tool, you'll have the understanding that as a business owner, so now we're going to shift it back to the business. As a business owner, people are looking to you for the answers. And sometimes you don't even know all the answers, but they recognize that you have something that can help them along the way. They recognize that you have a leadership quality or authoritative quality about you that even if you don't know the answer, I know that if I partner with you, if I work with you, if I hire you as my coach, if I hire you as my consultant, if I hire you as my makeup artist, if I hire you as whatever I need to hire you as, if I commission you as that, that even if you don't fully know all the answers, we're going to be able to work together. We're going to get the answers because I need your wisdom. I need your leadership. I need what it is that you have to help propel me into the area in the direction that I'm looking to go in, right? So, and you're leaving room open for those who look to you in leadership to embrace collaboration, right? To be led by you, to find the solution, because this turns because when you walk in vulnerability, it empowers those who are looking up to you for the answers, right? So let's just go into this kind of like wind up the vulnerability portion and just kind of like break down a few different things. So the truth, so here's a few things about vulnerability, trust and vulnerability, right? So first and foremost, it's the foundation of vulnerability is trusting in yourself. Trusting in yourself. And it's not a strategy. Vulnerability is not a strategy. I want to break this down. It's not a strategy, but it's an authentic state of being. That's what vulnerability is. And I want to make this distinction. I want to make this crucial distinction because people will get on a live. People will get on here and say, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna use vulnerability as my strategy. It's not a strategy. It's being authentic. It's an authentic state of being of yourself. Okay. So shifting the perspective of being vulnerable from a tactic to a genuine expression of yourself. Let's first and foremost get what trust and vulnerability and what vulnerability really is. It's not a tactic, but it's a genuine expression of yourself. Okay. So then we want to go into the dichotomy between confidence and vulnerability. Again, I stated before, vulnerability and confidence to me, they're not interchangeable words, but they are words to be used in in connection with one another, in collaboration of one another, right? It's about not just trusting in your strength, but also in your journey, including your insecure parts, right? So they're not mutually exclusive. They're not, you got to have both. They work together. Confidence and vulnerability work together. Okay? So that's why we redefine really what confidence is. Redefine confidence as knowing that, basically walking in the confidence that I know I can do this. I may not have all the answers. I may not know how to really, I got the initial vision, but I may not know what the end gonna look like. But I have the confidence that I can walk in there. And then with that, I'm gonna walk in the vulnerability of myself to know that I don't have all the answers, but I'm gonna trust the path that we're gonna get on, right? So that's how we're gonna work those two together, right? Then we'll go down to vulnerability as a path to connection, right? So it fosters deeper connection again with your audience, with those that you coach, with those that you mentor, with those that you consult with when you're in leadership, if you're on a career path and you're trying to get to the C-suite. It helps foster deeper connection because people begin to resonate with you. People begin to understand that even if she don't have the answer, I can work with her and we can get the answer together, right? And because you're expressing yourself truly in authenticity and not just because you're using vulnerability as a strategy. It enhances your relationships. It helps build your relationships stronger, and it helps build meaningful business connections with others outside of you, right? So even when you look at vulnerability as a path to your authenticity, once you get comfortable in really walking in vulnerability, it's a necessary ingredient for authentic relationships. The fear of being hurt, which held you back before and underscored your barrier for vulnerability, that all of that changes, right? You have a realization that opens up to you, and you change the dynamics of your future business collaborations and your future business relationships, right? Practicing openness. You got to just practice openness, right? Being prepared for your outcomes and being prepared and acceptance. Like when you prepare and accept possible outcomes, it just kind of leaves you where you lessen the blow of what can happen to you when you choose to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is a courageous act, right? It's a courageous action, right? Learning to be vulnerable is just learning that people aren't always going to be for you, but you can still walk away with no wounds, right? It's growth opportunities, and you can acknowledge that the act of being vulnerable, regardless of the outcome, is intrinsically valuable. It's a valuable quality to be vulnerable in your business, okay? So then we redefine vulnerability, right? We redefined it, recognizing that okay, sometimes vulnerabilities is within our own insecurities, but it's important to our journey to acknowledge vulnerability as a courageous act. Again, it opens ourselves up to perceive weaknesses, not for sympathy or not for a facade, because sometimes people use vulnerability for sympathy. What's the meme that say some people like staying hurt, or some people like being a victim because it gets them attention. That's the wrong attention, because you don't want nobody to pity you. You don't want nobody working with you on a business level because they pity you, because they feel sorry for you. I don't want that kind of business. I want the business that people see me opening up myself and saying, that's somebody I want to work with, because now she can help me be resilient. Now she can help me move forward, right? Okay. Now she can help me be courageous, because I want to be courageous like her. If your vulnerability is making people feel sorry for you, then you using it in the wrong way. Your vulnerability should be seen as a strength, and it should be seen to make people say, I want to be brave like Ty. That's what you want to get out of being vulnerability. Okay. But you have to turn it into an integral part of your authentic leadership and your personal growth. That's how you want to use vulnerability. And then, when we think about vulnerability versus imposter syndrome, and I'm going to talk more about imposter syndrome because that is something that I really dealt with. In the last few years, I have learned to overcome my imposter syndrome. And I really want to get in depth about imposter syndrome, because I feel like a lot of us need to overcome imposter syndrome, right? So, it just and really what it is, in a nutshell, it's a fear of being disappointed, right? It's a fear of it's a fear of disappointing people. That's really what imposter syndrome is. It's a fear of disappointing people and not living up to their expectations. Okay. And this often deters a lot of entrepreneurs from showing up as their true self. But when you build your muscle of vulnerability, imposter syndrome is going to go out the way. I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna break that down. I'm gonna break that down in like maybe 2 or 3 lives down the line, but I'm gonna break that down. Okay. So then now we want to move forward too. So now that we talked about embracing vulnerability as strength, right? And this is one of my things, like as a coach, I really get to the depth of vulnerability with my with people when I work with. It's like I really want to hone in the use of vulnerability and just really helping them to be more confident, more and strengthen more in vulnerability when I work with people. So that's pretty much the elongated thought process about vulnerability. So, but still, we want to talk about like building a confidence portfolio, right? So when we're building a confidence portfolio, um, basically it's like keeping a written record of your journey, your wins. I was talking to somebody and I was going through like a reflective journey, and they was just asking me all of these different questions, right? And some of the questions was asking me about like times where I felt confident or times when I felt like, things I made an impact in people's lives or a client lives or whatever. And because I hadn't kept like a written record, a written journal of these moments, I was drawing blanks. Even though I know I've helped people, even though I know I've helped people make big changes in their businesses and things of that nature, but it's like I couldn't draw off of it for some reason. So to build your confidence portfolio, you want to keep a record of your journeys. You want to keep a record of your wins. You want to keep a record of when you've made impact in somebody's life that you work with, because then you can go back to those written records, especially when you're having moments where you're feeling down, when you're feeling not confident, when you're feeling like maybe you're going in the wrong direction. You can go back and just kind of revisit those moments of saying, no, but I helped Susie do this. I helped Jan do this. I helped Erica do this. I helped Felicia do this, right? And you can go back and that's how you're going to build yourself up. That's how you're going to make sure that you stay on the path of knowing that what you were blessed to do, what you were gifted to do, what you were put on this earth to do, what you were purposed to do, that you were meant to do it and you have been doing it. Maybe you're just in the low season. Maybe you're in the season of where you're getting quiet, and maybe God wants to give you new insights and he wants you to do some reading. He wants you to do some research. He wants you to just kind of like pour more or draw more out of yourself. But you always got to remember that by keeping that confidence portfolio, it keeps you kind of moving forward, right? Um, in that way. And then confidence through collaborations, right? So we want to challenge ourselves to get out of this stereotype of being the lone entrepreneur, to be of being self-reliant, right? Only it's me, I'm a one band show. I read somewhere, and I don't have it in front of me. I don't know the source, but I've read somewhere, I heard somewhere where they said like entrepreneurs who work by themselves and they run their companies by themselves, they may they maybe only make $100,000 or $200,000 in their business. Like they don't never make $1 million businesses. But those that choose to collaborate and turn from being just this lone entrepreneur to having a team, opening yourself up to people collaborating with you in your business. And that's when they become the Fortune 500 businesses. That's when they begin to make the $1 million businesses and the $1 billion businesses, because they're opening themselves up to collaborating. It's confidence through collaboration. Teaming up with other people provides confidence when you partnership with people and it's a proper alignment and a proper connection, right? And then you all can build off of each other if you're properly aligned with the right person, because they're building you up and you're building them up. Iron will sharpen iron. And what that means is sometimes you may be the president of your company, you may be the president of your business, you may be the one in charge, but then when you bring other people in who can add to your ideas, who can challenge your ideas, who can sharpen your ideas, who can make your ideas better, it helps you build up your confidence in your business, right? So, we about hit that hour mark, but I want to finish this by saying this about vulnerability and just kind of like summing up everything we talked about and things like that. So, true vulnerability in business isn't about you using your insecurities as a strategy for engagement. Okay. It's about embracing the entirety of your journey with confidence, including the parts you're still navigating. Okay. It's understanding that the foundation of genuine leadership lies in the trust you place in yourself to share your story, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and not as a ploy for connection, but as an authentic expression of where you are and where you're heading. Okay. This form of vulnerability isn't weakness, it's your most profound strength. Okay. It opens up a space for genuine connection and collaborative growth. Okay. Empowering you and those who look to you for guidance. Okay. So embracing vulnerability is not a liability, but as a beacon of your humanity. Okay. Inviting others to join you on the quest for solutions and success in the unpredictable journey of entrepreneurship, right? So again, when we prepare for all outcomes, it doesn't shield us from disappointment, but it empowers us to face it with resilience, knowing that the true victory lies in having dared, okay, having dared to be our whole selves. Vulnerability, then, is not just about risking heartache, it's about the courage to face life's truth and the freedom from what ifs, right? It teaches us that even when paths diverge, the strength lies in having walked them openly, leaving nothing on the table, and moving forward to enrich your journey. Okay? So that's what I got to say today. And that statement, like I had to get I had to put a statement together because I knew that I was going to be talking about a lot. So I just kind of wanted to put like the icing on the cake statement, and I had to read that. Which say it's crazy because the stress of me doing it by myself causes me to think I don't have the time and patience to collaborate and build a team. I'm aware of it and just need to take the leap of faith. Yes, and building a team is two people. Okay, so let's break it down one bite at a time. Talking about this comment here. And this gonna help somebody else too, because I'm sure you're not the only one that feel like this. A team is two people. So we think about a team and we think about all of these people, but you gotta pace yourself, right? You gotta pace yourself. And even if that team of two is just you mainly doing most of the work, but then you get somebody to help you 10 hours out of the week and whatever, or you're like, it's so many different ways that you can do this with a team, depending on, I know with you being in makeup, right, and I know with you doing other things in your life, and I don't know the exact area that you're speaking on with when it comes to this. But a team can be two people. So you just start off slow and they helping you do one particular thing, right? And then you build on that and you just keep building, you keep building, and you keep building. So a lot of times I'm going to be starting a new program, and I know I keep saying this, but in my program, like, I'm going to show you how you have this big goal, and we have these huge goals, and we talk ourselves out of things because we be trying to do it all at one time. And if not, we can't do it. We got to look at this thing like, okay, you know how when the churches be trying to raise money and they have the big old thermometer, right? And they got the big goal. So like, okay, we want to make $10,000, but then every $5 we get, every $3 we get, every $10 we get, every $100 we get, we market it on the line. That's how you got to do your goals in your business. You got to start. You got to accept those little pieces. And the more you accept, the more you build, the more you do things, you're going to eventually get to your big goal. But we got to we got to bring it down a little bit. So that's what I want to say with that. So a team can be two people. Okay? It could be two people. So again, so if you're watching this on a replay, if you're watching now, I probably got like a good 3 minutes. So you got a question you want to ask me about vulnerability or whatever, put it in the comments real quick because I'm gonna be getting off real quick to go walk my dog and then I gotta go to work or whatever. But again, I you can check me out 624visionaries.com. Again, like I said, I'm going to be doing a new program. I'm going to be launching it real soon. I'm just really putting the framework together because I want it to be good. I want it to be, I don't want something that I start and then I stop. I want it to be good. So I'm working on it right now and we're getting it together. And eventually I'm going to start the wait list and the process for everybody to join in and things of that nature. But I'm going to prep you all for that. But in the meantime, you can still get my book, How I Fumbled 10K in Business, a guide to avoiding my costly mistakes and building a sustainable business. That is available currently on my website if you want to go purchase and get it out. And this will help everybody, anybody. If you're a business professional or a person in leadership and you're looking to get some foundation in order. Get your foundation in order for your business. If you find that you've been just making really bad mistakes, I want you to learn from my mistakes so that you can begin to make, begin to set the foundation so that you can begin to make money in your business, right? So you can check me out on my website, 624visionaries.com, for that. But in the meantime, in between time, um, that's the end of today's live. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If this has done something for you today, please share this live. Tag somebody in the comments. Um, Tag somebody in the comments, okay? Tag them and say, girl, you need to watch this. Sir, you need to watch this because I know men watch me too. And even though my audience is for women and things of that nature, it's some stuff that the men can get from too, because I believe my information is practical. My heart is towards the women, but I do provide practical information for that men can use too. We'll talk soon. Thank you for dropping the wisdom. I'm about to pray. Oh, thank you, sissy. Okay. So that's where we at. Y'all have a great Friday. Please share. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on YouTube. That is where you can watch the lives. Tell somebody about Ty Young. If I done gave you some wisdom today, you better tell 5 people about me today. And I will see y'all next Friday. I think I can give y'all like a snippet of what next Friday is going to be. Wait, hold on. Let me tell y'all real quick. What is next Friday going to be? Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm going to tell y'all real quick. What is next Friday going to be? Next Friday is going to be crafting your signature echo. Finding and amplifying your voice in a crowd. You're going to want to watch that one. Okay. So crafting your signature echo. That's next Friday's live. Okay. Y'all have a great day. Blessed Friday. Enjoy yourself. Live up to your highest potential. Be vulnerable. Okay. And I will see y'all soon. Bye.